Yeah, You Can't Play Boxing podcast, episode 47. Yo, what's up, man? Great day. Sorry for speaking like that. Great day. 420. Sorry for being a couple of days late, you know what I'm saying, on a podcast. But a lot going on, you know what I'm saying? So, man, where do we start? Number one, we start out giving our socials and everything. Check us out on Instagram at You Can't Play Boxing. That's UCANTPLAYBOXING. Check us out on our website. It's being remodeled right now, but it's can'tplayboxing.com. And you can email us at youcan'tplayboxing@gmail.com. That's youcan'tplayboxing@gmail.com. Any sponsorships you want to do, we got new sponsors, so shout out to them. Also, of course, don't forget to subscribe on all your platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, everywhere, you know what I'm saying? So be sure to subscribe, rate, you know what I'm saying? 5s are better than 1s, so you know what I'm saying? But if you got constructive criticism, for sure, leave that, you know what I'm saying? So what we gonna do, man, we got a jam-packed show. We gonna talk about, of course, today's 420, like I said. We got the Method Man and Redman versus today. Appropriate, you know what I'm saying? We also got new boxing news, a lot of different fights being scheduled. You got my man Tank Davis. He has an upcoming fight. You got the Charlo brothers scheduled a couple fights too. And then we had about 3 notable fights this past weekend. We had Regis Prograis, we had Tony Harrison fighting, we had Boo Boo Demetrius Andre fighting. So we had a lot of good notable fights. We're gonna talk about those too. But we're gonna kick the show off, man. We're gonna talk about what is a day that we typically don't see. Today, if you don't know, Derek Chauvin, he was convicted of murdering George Floyd. Let me repeat that again. Derek Chauvin was convicted of murdering George Floyd. And you know, I know why some people, they're joyful that the right decision was made, and I'm definitely one of those. I'm happy that the right decision was made, because we know in the past we've been so used to seeing the wrong decision made, even when clear evidence is in the face, you know. So don't get me wrong, I'm happy, not happy. I am pleased that the right decision was made. But in reality, you know what I'm saying, he's basically is being held responsible for what he's done. Unfortunately, it won't bring George Floyd back. Unfortunately, it won't bring to his kids, it won't bring their father back. And that's the bittersweet part of it, you know, when you think about it. You know, it's crazy that in 2020 and 2021, something that should be a open and shut case, there was a lot of angst, you know what I mean? Whether or not we were even going to see the appropriate verdict for something that was on tape and so egregious, just kind of tells you where we at. You know what I'm saying? Kind of tells you where we at and what we've been conditioned to really accept or expect, you know. But in this circumstance, the right decision, you know what I'm saying, was made. I wish a different sentence was possible. But that's not the case in this circumstance. So, we take what we got. So again, prayers out to the George Floyd family, to his friends, because even though the right verdict happened in this circumstance, it doesn't bring back George Floyd, you know. So, all right, off of the somber note, you know what I'm saying. What we're gonna go into next. Today is 4/20. Not trying to date the show, but to all the smokers out there, happy holiday. Speaking of happy holiday, we had an appropriate verses tonight. You know what I'm saying? If you listen to this podcast, the verses has already been completed. I didn't get a chance to watch all of it. I saw a snippet of it. But we had Method Man versus Redman. And I'm a big fan of both of them since the 90s, of course. If you notice, I'm playing one of my favorite Redman songs back from the first album. What the album, you know what I'm saying? I'm playing Tonight's the Night with that sample. And of course, Method Man and Redman, they had a bunch of songs together in the 90s. I think a couple albums, Blackout 2. Of course, they had the How High movie, which is a cult classic, And it had me thinking back, don't get me wrong, I'm a Method Man fan, and there's memorable Method Man verses. I'm talking about like verses and rhymes. But I think as time has gone by, Redman has become an underrated beast. Because when Redman was in his peak, bruh, there was not many that can fuck with him. I mean, Redman in the 90s, from 92 to me to about 95, 96. It's like Mike Tyson in his prime, you know what I'm saying? Like Mike Tyson AI in their primes, you know what I'm saying? Where they come in and change the game with the energy and the ferociousness and just the ability to do things that other people in their fields weren't able to do. I mean, if you go back to some of the Redman classic, some of my favorite Redman verses and songs, got to go back to Headbanger from EPMD featuring the entire Hit Squad, you know what I'm saying? That verse is nasty, man. That verse is very, 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 very nasty. You know what I'm saying? He killed it. And that was the thing about Redman back then, is that if you were on a track with him, a lot of times he blew you out the water. And no disrespect to Method Man. Method Man has washed a few people even as recently as last year. You know what I'm saying? That verse he got with Conway the Machine, Method Man did his thing. And Method Man has been actually, his pen has gotten better or has stayed as sharp as from the 90s. So that's a testament to him. But Redman on that original How High, that last verse from Redman, man, I don't think anybody could have fucked with him on that day. Look up in ya, I got the Glocks up into the center. Lyrics bang like Ricka, Shay Rabbit. I bring havoc with an AK Matic. Man, he was killing it on that verse. That's another classic Redman verse. Of course, another, like I said before, Tonight's the Night is another one that I love. Of course, time for some action. He killed that. I was just listening to some shit earlier, man. He had the song Funkorama with the Q-Tip sample. Man, Redman was really, he had a lot of shit, bro. Like, Redman is really like, in the 90s, you knew he was dope, and he's still dope. But I think as time is going on, people don't really give him the just due of how much of a beast he was in the 90s. Like, as time is going by, you had so many people that were able to somewhat duplicate that. But at that time period, you couldn't really duplicate what he was doing. You couldn't really duplicate what he was doing. You really couldn't. So shout out to Redman, one of the true phenomenons that came through this rap game, like in 1990s. It was very few that could match him in history, and let alone at that time period. So yeah, if you haven't checked it out, I'm gonna check it out later on. I'll check out the verses and see how it went. I definitely expect it to be very entertaining, so look forward to checking it out. So like I said before, it's the Boxing and Bullshit podcast. And we're gonna get, that was some of the bullshit we talked about. Let's get into the boxing though. Last week we had some fight announcements. One of the more interesting fight announcements that I saw, you had our guy Gervonta Tank Davis. Last fight was at 130, fighting Leo Santa Cruz. And most people will say, okay, Tank is kind of hard to make 130. He'll go to 135, where you got Devin Haney. You got Ryan Garcia. You got Teofimo Lopez. You got possibly Lomachenko. You got a lot of fighters. Ryan Garcia, if I ain't saying him already. Yeah. But nah, that's not what happened. Tank decided to move up 2 weight classes and go to 140. And he's fighting an undefeated guy in July, but we fully expect Tank to win that. And the question that came up was, is Tank ducking or avoiding all the competition at 135? My personal opinion is I don't know if Tank is doing it, but yeah, somebody is. I mean, whether that was his advisors or the Mayweather promotions team, yeah, they chose to, okay, we're going to skip 135, we're going to 140. And Tank isn't like a big dude, like he's not a tall guy, so 135 would have been the most logical pathway for him next. But they decided to go up two weight classes. Now I fully expect him to win the next fight, but it's going to be interesting how his power translate 2 weight classes up when there's opportunity to fight at 135. Of course, a lot of the big fights at 135 requires PBC and Mayweather Promotions to work across the street and work with a different promotional company that has the stars. So I don't know what the appetite was for that. I'm assuming there wasn't much appetite for it because the fights didn't get made. But as a boxing fan and someone who wants to see the best fights, now I understand we during COVID, it's kind of hard to get the same amount of money that you would get pre-COVID and pre-pandemic because of the regulations and limitations we have as far as capacity and seating. But I would have loved to see those fights, the big fights in 135, because while most of these guys are young, they're not getting any younger, you know what I'm saying? So I would have loved to see Tank fight Ryan Garcia, fight Devin Haney, fight Teofimo Lopez. I mean, because there's a lot of good fights to make at 135. Fight Lomachenko. There's like 4 or 5 guys at 135 that have made interesting, compelling fights. And we didn't get a chance to get those, you know. So hopefully, you know, we get a chance to get some of those fights. I know I'm looking forward to it. But it's been kind of a disappointing fight year so far. We haven't had any big fights really. So hopefully those things change. Another fight that got announced, the Charlo brothers, they're going to fight in June. I think one's on June 19th. Another one's in July. Cool fights, but, you know, again, we haven't really had any big fights that were scheduled. So it would be interesting to see how those fights go. I'm going to tune in. But, you know, I can't say that I'm overly excited about these fights. You know what I'm saying? I can't lie. You know, I'm not really overly excited about this shit. But, you know what I'm saying? These are the cards we were dealt so far. Hopefully shit gets flipped around shortly. All right, so what we going to do now, we going to take a quick break, you know. Going to go to our sponsor. Come back, we're going to recap some of the fights that happened this past weekend. Like I said before, you had Tony Harrison. You had Demetrius Andre. You had Regis Prograis. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to tap into all those fights. We're going to recap it. So stay tuned. Shouts out to our sponsors. Luxury Apex is sponsoring this segment. LuxuryApex.com is where you can find the most premium colognes and fragrances for women and perfumes for women for great prices. Luxury Apex has premium colognes and perfumes from Chanel, from Tom Ford, also from Dior. And just for you listening to our podcast, You Can't Play Boxing, they got a special promo code for our listeners. If you type in the code Can't Play Boxing 25, you get 25% off from any item on the site. Luxury Apex includes free shipping, so give them a shout, man. LuxuryApex.com. Premium fragrances, top-notch designers. Let them know that You Can't Play Boxing sent you over there. Again, promo code is Can't Play Boxing 25. What's up? It's that time of the show where we kind of give a shout out to our sponsors. The sponsor today is Anchor. Anchor is everything you need to create your own podcast. You can use Anchor to distribute your show. They'll kind of get it out for you. And all you have to do is do it from your cell phone or your microphone, however you want to do it. But if you want to get your voice out there, if you want to talk to the people, there's no better place to do it than Anchor. So download the app, Anchor, or go to their website, anchor.com. It'll distribute your podcast on all platforms. So again, Anchor. Yeah. We back. You Can't Play Boxing Podcast, episode 47. You know what I'm saying? Number one, like I said before, I want to thank everybody for listening. You know, I know you got a lot of different choices to listen to for podcasts, period. You got a lot of different choices to listen to for boxing, period. However, you guys, you know what I'm saying, are women. You guys and women decide to listen to me. So, as I always say, for sure. I thank y'all for fucking with me, for sure. With that being said, let's get into these fights that we had this past weekend. Start off with we're going to go in order of the fights that happened this past weekend. The weekend kicked off with on Saturday morning out of Miami. We had, I'm saying Saturday afternoon. I'm on the West Coast. Saturday afternoon, we had Boo Boo Demetrius Andre. He was fighting Liam Williams. And in that fight, Boo Boo, of course, Boo Boo, man, is like, he's very skilled. And a lot of people, say he's avoided. And I agree, he is avoided. And most people say, he would give Canelo a run for his money. And, of course, Triple G a run for his money. And, of course, the Charlo brother a run for his money, who has a belt at 160. And, I sort of agree. But let's go into this fight, the recap of it. So, Boo Boo, he started off fast. In that first round, he really did wobble Williams real quick, giving him a lot of different angles. Had very good technique in that first round, which was expected. Second round, Boo Boo kind of got in this groove, and he did a real nasty, solid 1-2 punch on Williams, and he dropped him in that second round. And, I was thinking, hey, when I saw him drop Williams off that 1-2, I was thinking the fight is going to probably be over with because Williams barely made it, got kind of saved by the bell almost. And, but Williams got up, and he was able to survive the second round. And really, one of the things in that first few rounds, bruh, Boo Boo was tagging him with them uppercuts, like, repeatedly. He was able to do kind of whatever he wanted to do with them uppercuts in the first few rounds of the fight. That's why I thought he was going to get him out of there. But however, Williams, he stood in there, and he was able to survive. And actually, in the ninth round, he had probably his best round of the fight. And he showed heart for sure. And I know this is a broken record, but I always tell people, bro, like, a fighter to me is like one of the most courageous people on this planet, because they train alone, they do the road work, they get in the ring alone, they take those punches alone. There's no guarantee for the money they get. You lose a fight, your money can be cut in half or 1/3. So it's a lot riding on the line, and one punch can put you in the hospital. One punch can have you leave the ring worse off for life than you were before you got in the ring. So always give hats off to the fighters, bro. I'm not one of those people who disrespect fighters. Like, nah, nigga. They more courageous than you probably was. They more courageous than your daddy is. They more courageous than your granddaddy most likely. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta give utmost respect to the fighters. So Williams, bro, he hung in there. Ninth round, he had a good round. In the 12th round, Boo Boo was trying to get him out of there, but he got tired. You can tell his legs were going. So he finished the round, won the fight, unanimous decision. My synopsis is that Boo Boo is ready for like a Triple G. I'm not sure. I would pick him to win, to beat Triple G. It's not as great of a gap as I thought it would be at this point in Triple G's career. I think Canelo is a level above Boo Boo. I think if he did fight Canelo has a little different pedigree to get him to win that fight. If he were to fight the Charlo Jamal, I think. Yeah. If he were to fight Jamal or Jamel, I get it mixed up at 160, but whichever one got the better 160, if he was to fight him at 160, that would be a great stylistic fight. I don't know. I'm not quite sure who would win. I think it would be a great style matchup. Yeah, I would love to see that fight, to be truthful. I know Eddie Hearn was saying he want to make that Triple G fight. We'll see how it goes. I'm not. Unfortunately, people have been talking about making big fights with Boo Boo for years, and it hasn't happened. I mean, I know a few years ago he was with 50 Cent, with his promotional company. Nothing really came about, so hopefully he gets a big fight because I think he has a lot of talent. I think he has, and I don't want to see that talent not have the opportunity to be exposed on the highest platform, on the highest level, to test it out, because you don't know. I can sit here and guess what it can do, but you never know until he gets in that ring. So hopefully he gets a shot. So the next card we had last week, we had Tony Harrison. He was fighting, what's the dude name? Brian Pirelli or whatever, Pirella. Man, first thing I got noticed, man, Pirella, like, they call him like the good fella. He had a motherfucking outfit that looked like one of the good fellas, or looked like he was just on the set of Dick Tracy, or looked like he was on the set of Boardwalk Empire, you know what I'm saying? You got to check out that fight just for the his costume he had on, like walking out coming into the ring. And of course, speaking of ring attire, Tony Harrison, straight out of Detroit, he had the buffs on. You know what I'm saying? He had them buffs on. But and if you don't know, Tony Harrison had two good fights with Charlo, and over the last year or two, he won the first one, kind of controversial. Second one, he got knocked out. But this was his comeback fight since that knockout loss. And Pirella, he's trained by Roy Jones Jr., number one. And he was showing real good pressure, real good angles. And really through the first 6 rounds, I had Pirella up like 58-56. Close rounds, but I had him up. Fight kept going on. A lot of close rounds in there. After 10 rounds, I had it tied up 95-95. And then the last 2 rounds, while they were close, I gave those to Tony Harrison. But I will say, I think Tony Harrison has somewhat regressed from that Charlo fight, man. I think Charlo and the shit talking they had, Charlo kind of brought the best out of Tony Harrison. He kind of let him rise to a different level that I don't think he had the motivation to rise fighting Pirella, you know what I'm saying? But Harrison, I had him win that fight. The fight ended up being a draw on the scorecards. I had Tony Harrison winning 115, 113. However, I'm not upset at a draw. I can see how people had Pirella winning for real. Pirella definitely put himself in a position to get a notable fight again. And I really can tell by his technique that Roy Jones is teaching some good technique for him. He's really maximizing the skills that he has, So shout out to Pirella for making a good showing for himself. And hopefully we see him come back out another time, and maybe this is a rematch for these two. Who knows? I'm not really excited to see them fight because I will say skill-wise, Harrison should win. However, I think Pirella maximized his skill while Harrison wasn't motivated. It didn't see he was doing a lot of things that he could have corrected to make the fight a lot easier for himself. He was leaning in when Pirella had to get close to him. He don't have the reach. Harrison was leaning in, making it easy to get hit. Defense was lacking. So, shout out to Tony Harrison, but I think you can definitely clean up a lot of different things if you fight him again to make this fight easier. And you don't have to put yourself through it, So, last fight of the night that we had on Saturday, we had Regis Prograis fighting on Triller versus Ivan Redcatch or whatever. So, fight was on Triller on that pay-per-view of Jake Paul and Ben Askren. I ain't gonna talk about that. Like, if you don't know, Jake Paul won in first round. Kind of looked a little fishy. However, whatever. He won, But on the undercard, we had Regis Prograis, who, of course, lost to Josh Taylor a couple years ago. He's won 2 straight since then. Coming out of the Endo, out of that boot. And really on the fight, bruh, Prograis was able to do whatever the fuck he wanted to do. He was tagging him, and Snoop was on Snoop is on a lot of these Triller commentaries, and bro, Snoop just adds a different dimension to commentary. You had Al Bernstein, but you had Snoop, and to me, it's kind of like the best of both worlds. So you had the professional Hall of Fame broadcaster, then you had Snoop just being one with the people, like you watching the fight with your homie. You know what I'm saying? So it's nice seeing that contrast out of those two. But back to the fight, bro. Prograis was killing Red Cash, you know what I'm saying? Red Cash was missing a lot. And to me, like, Prograis hit him with like a shot, I think it was 6th round, whatever. And Red Cash say that he got hit low. Replay show clearly wasn't a low blow. However, Red Cash was selling that shit, and he was, I don't want to say any fight is faking, but bro, where he was saying that he got hit, the replay show, it wasn't anywhere close to there. So you figure it out, you know what I'm saying? My thoughts, my thoughts is that Prograis did everything he's supposed to do. Hopefully he fights against better competition. Coming up, I know there's a lot of good fights at 140. Hey, like we said before, Tank made it at 140, so maybe that's a fight. I think maybe Prograis is going to 147 too, or maybe this fight's at 147. I'm not sure. But I know he said he want to fight Adrian Broner, so shout out to Regis Prograis coming out the boot, out of Endo. He got the win. They changed the fight from a technical decision to a technical knockout, so he got his knockout that he wanted. They changed the fight decision a day later. The Georgia Commission did. So shouts out to them for making this thing go right. So what we gonna do, man? Like I said, that's gonna wrap up this week's show. Number one, again, I do want to apologize for being a day late, but not $1 short. You know what I'm saying? Again, y'all can check me out on our socials. That's at You Can't Play Boxing. This your boy Timmy B. Also check us out on our website, can'tplayboxing.com. And you can email us at youcan'tplayboxing@gmail.com. Remember to like, rate, and subscribe. And until next time, y'all, peace.